And finally, episode 8 picks up right where episode 7 left off. Gully screams, "Somebody get him," so it forces Jack to get the hell out of there. And Ace actually ends up helping him out. Both Spade brothers are able to flee and get out of there before they get their ass kicked. As soon as they get down the road, Ace starts pleading his case to Jack that he was actually heading there to defend the DWL. But after getting there, he heard Gully out, and he's pretty persuasive. And on top of that, he actually listened to Ace, which is something that Jack doesn't do. Jack tells him, "You're winning the belt at the state fair." And Ace screams, "It's not about the belt." And Jack says, "I know, it's about turning you back into a face," which is what Ace wanted to be all along. Ace says, "Don't do this because somebody tried to steal your stud horse." And Jack says, "I didn't do this because somebody tried to steal my stud horse. I did this to protect my brother from somebody who just wanted to use him." The conversation then goes into how Ace was humiliated in front of all of Duffy. So who was Jack trying to protect then? And Jack says, "Yourself. I didn't think you were ready for the big time." Ace then asks him, "Did you and Willie plant the Kleenexes in the crowd that night?" And Jack says, "Screw you, man. How dare you ask me that question?" They both then drive back to Duffy. When Jack finally gets home, he finds an empty house, and there's a note next to a bunch of tissue packets that say, "Went to Courtney's." The next day, before practice, Wild Bill heads to the trailer park to visit with Crystal, and he showed up because he wants Crystal to be his valet. He's got this famous valet named Bunny Bombshell, and he wants Crystal to take the place. Crystal tells him that she wasn't going to wrestle for the DWL anymore. She quit or was fired. She doesn't really have any interest in it, but Wild Bill convinces her that she really should reconsider. It's one of those situations where she ponders it, but deep down she knows she's coming back. And Bill isn't the only person trying to convince a former DWL employee to come back, because Ace is doing the same thing with Big Jim. He lays out the entire game plan for the triple threat ladder match for the championship and about how he's going to win it. And Jim is excited for him, but he doesn't have any interest in coming back and wrestling. That chapter in his life is done. Now that Ace is going to be a face again, though, he knows that he needs to make amends with some people that he hurt. Namely, the girl at the convenience store. Ace apologizes for everything he did, but she doesn't accept because Ace is an asshole. He asks her if she's coming to the state fair, and she says, "No, it's sold out. Do you have any extra tickets?" And Ace asks her, "Well, if I get you some, will you forgive me?" Ace, though, is getting some pressure from the guy behind him to hurry up, so Ace says, "I'll figure this out, but thank you for considering my apology." The thing is, she's not considering it at all. This just is another step in Ace Spade's reclamation project. Ace then heads to practice, where word of what went down in Florida had spread through the locker room. But Ace, Wild Bill, and Jack have bigger fish to fry because they need to practice the main event. After practice, everybody kind of does their recovery thing, and Wild Bill goes into a cold tub. Diego shows up with some medicine, a.k.a. some pills that he got that could help with bumps and bruises and whatnot, but Wild Bill tells him, "I need something stronger than this." And the stuff that Wild Bill wants, Diego doesn't really want to get because it's really dangerous stuff. It can make you see stuff, feel funny, and it really messes with your stomach. Wild Bill, though, reiterates, "Just get me what you can get me." But Jack didn't stick around that day because he headed home. While wrestling and the state fair are a nice distraction for him, he's still got the issue of Stacy. She still hasn't returned home, and he's trying to get a hold of her, but to no luck. She's just really upset about what he did to his brother. And she has no idea that Ace has gotten over it. In fact, he's really excited about winning the belt. He tells his mom and asks her if she wants to come, but she doesn't have any interest. She saw what wrestling did to her husband, and while she's excited for her son, she doesn't want to be there. But finally, Jack is able to get Stacy to meet with him. She starts ripping him for what he did to his brother, and finally, Jack kind of reaches a breaking point and starts telling Stacy what a bad guy Ace has been, using examples like making the girl at the convenience store cry, telling him that he would stick around Duffy so long until he killed himself like his dad. None of this Stacy had any idea about. Jack tells Stacy Ace is immature. He says stupid things, he's a stupid kid, and he wasn't ready for the show. And the reason you didn't know about it is because I was protecting him from people like you who see him as one thing. You see, I have somebody like you who grounds me in conversation. Ace doesn't have that. So if I have to be my brother's keeper, then so be it. I will. Now with some clarity, Stacy's opinion has changed a little bit, but she does think that Jack should come clean about what he did to Ace. Be honest with him and say that it was him who put the tissues out there. Jack, though, doesn't want to do that because he knows that Ace will hate him. But Stacy says maybe not, but it's better than lying. How you act is who you are, and I'm not in our home right now because I need you to witness the fact that I'm worried that you think the success of the DWL or whatever you achieve equals you being a good guy, and I'm certainly not attracted to that person. If you don't fix who you're becoming, you're going to lose me. Jack understands but asks Stacy, "Can we go home now?" And she says, "No, you got a big few days ahead of you. we'll stay out of your hair so you can focus on that. He then asks if she's still planning on coming to the fair, expecting a yes, but actually, no. The national anthem at the rodeo's time changed, so she can't. And that's pretty upsetting to Jack. He wanted to be there for his wife, but Stacy says, "You can be there for me by wishing me luck." Jack then wishes her luck and goes in and says goodnight to Thomas. A couple days later is fair day. Everybody is to meet at the DWL Dome and then head off to the state fair together. But before Ace heads off, he stops by that convenience store and hands the clerk 2 tickets, reiterating how sorry he is for how he treated her. Ace then heads to the Dome, and everybody's really excited, not just for the day, but Crystal's back. She's decided to take the gig as Bunny Bombshell. Problem is, no one told Jack, and Jack doesn't really have a problem with it, and Ace is thrilled with it, so it's not going to distract him. Him and Crystal are good, so Jack walks over to Crystal and welcomes her back. Ace then pulls Jack to the side because he got a text from Stacy saying good luck, and that indicates that she's not going to be there. So he asks his brother, "Hey, is everything okay?" But Jack just kind of brushes it to the side saying, "Let's just go kick ass today." Right before the group takes off, though, there's one last person that shows up. Big Jim. He can't miss this opportunity. The group then heads off to the state fair, and when they get there, they are completely wide-eyed. None of them have ever performed in a place this big with this many fans. They're extremely excited. In the back, when everybody gets dressed, Jack addresses the wrestlers and gives them a speech about family and about what the DWL means to them and this moment that they have in front of them. The show then kicks off, and in the ring, the wrestlers are killing it, and the crowd is eating it up. They love it. But in the back, Jack, Ace, Wild Bill, they're all getting ready in the back for the main event. They're coming up next, and Wild Bill ends up getting some stuff and taking it. Immediately feeling some effects. His head's pretty woozy. But he gets it together, and he heads to the back and just watches the rest of the matches on the monitor. Crystal is also getting ready, and she stops the original Bunny Bombshell, Willie, and thanks her for kind of coming to her aid and defending her. And Willie tells her that she's sorry that it isn't wrestling. And also that Willie once said she didn't belong here, and Willie was wrong. The second to last match ends, and now it's main event time. Ace, Wild Bill, and Crystal are waiting to go out, but Jack is noticeably absent. Willie has to go grab him, and that's because Jack is watching the rodeo and waiting for Stacy to sing. Problem is, it's too late. He has to go out. He's going to end up missing it. And she gets up there and, look, I mean, the girl can sing. She kills it. But missing her song ends up making Jack think about what she said about telling Ace the truth. And he tries to, but Ace cuts him off and tells him he did a really good job with the state fair, and this is something that Dad would really be proud of. Kind of shuts Jack up. He doesn't end up telling Ace the truth. Wild Bill is the first one to go out with Crystal, and he grabs the mic and cuts a promo about how he loves the Georgia State Fair and he's sick of the Spade brothers. It goes over great. Jack goes out, immediately gets booed. He's the heel, and when Ace comes out, he also gets booed because he's also a heel. But then as soon as the match kicks off, Jack's plan to turn Ace into a face again goes into effect, with Jack and Wild Bill teaming up together to kick the crap out of Ace. It works. Immediately, the fans start booing both Wild Bill and Jack and getting on Ace's side. Gets to the point in the match where Wild Bill is supposed to start going up the ladder and Ace pushes him off, and he does that. But when Wild Bill goes to get up, well, the stuff that he took, let's just say Diego warned him. He ends up crapping himself, like a lot, to the point where if he gets up, it'll be noticeable. Crystal comes over to see what's up, and he tells her, "Honey, I gotta play dead. If I get up, I'm never gonna live this down." Jack comes over and gets the lowdown on what's up with Wild Bill, as does Bobby, who is acting as the referee for the match. So Jack informs Ace about Wild Bill's issue, we'll call it, and now it's just down to Jack and Ace. But this match is coming to the end, and there's a couple of people in the crowd that probably shouldn't be there. It's Charlie Gully and his crew. They weren't just going to let what happened last week slide. They had to get retribution. They're not going to do what Jack did, though. They're not planning on just jumping into the ring and attacking them. No, they've actually thought this out, and it's pretty smart. At the point of the match where Jack and Ace are both climbing up the ladder to get the belt, Charlie Gully starts yelling, "Jack, Jack, Jack," and the crowd follows suit, which they weren't supposed to do. They were supposed to be cheering for Ace, and it really confuses Ace. But then they pull out packets of tissues because they've come prepared, and they handed out tissues, and they tell the crowd to start pelting both wrestlers with the packets of tissues. And this is something that no one expected. Both guys are at the very top of the ladder. They could easily grab the belt, but they've got tissues being thrown at their face, and Ace asks Jack, "Did you do this?" And this is when Jack admits, "No, not this time, but the first time I did." And Ace punches him, for real, right off of the ladder, taking the entire crowd by surprise. He slides down the ladder, not even caring about the belt, and just goes into attacking his brother. This is playing out just like Charlie Gully wanted. It's a complete disaster. Bobby asks Willie, what should I do? These guys are legitimately fighting, but she tells him to just wait, see how it plays out. Ace has Jack in mount and is choking him, ready to just punch his lights out as Jack is apologizing to him, when all of a sudden Ace hears somebody yell his name, and when he turns around, it's Crystal in the ring, and the crowd is going nuts. She takes off her ears and says, all right, let's go. So Ace gets up and the two start wrestling, and it looks great. Crystal Hurricane Rana's Ace, but Jack is still pretty banged up from a legit fight. So he tells Crystal, you're going to have to help me out. And she says, all right, I'll suplex you. And she does it perfectly. Now both Spade brothers are down and pretty much out, at least as far as the audience is concerned. And that's when Jack instructs Bobby, get her the ladder. Charlie Gully, though, sees what's going on, and he can't let this happen. So he says, screw this, I'm going to go get that belt. And as Crystal is trying to make her way up the ladder, Charlie Gully makes his way to the ring. But Wild Bill ends up seeing him. And shitting his pants and all, he gets up and clotheslines Charlie Gully before he can even get anywhere near Crystal. Crystal then climbs to the top, grabs the belt, and becomes the first ever woman to hold the DWL belt. The crowd is going nuts. And while Ace is happy for Crystal, he is not over what Jack did to him. And that is how Season 1 of Heels ends. Thank you so much for getting to this point of the recap. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. You don't have to leave a nasty comment. That's not a prerequisite, because nasty comments make me feel bad. Kind of like Ace. I like being a face, not so much a heel. I do have merch, so go buy, like, I don't know, a mug or something. You know, I got bills to pay. And if you know someone that needs this recap, consider sharing it on your social media pages. I would appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much for checking this out.